What an excellent day for a podcast. Hey, it's Ariana, and I'm here with the first episode of Until She Rots. Um, I figured for this one we could talk about just something that's here in Houston. Um, I do, I find that Texas has so much haunted history, it's not even funny. Like, you go anywhere in the state and you'll find something that, is kind of creepy. Um, there's like Yeah, I mean, you could go visit the fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre little set that they had, but you could also visit like something that's like supposedly really haunted, like all of Galveston, for instance. So Texas has so much to go for, but I figured today I could just talk to you about one that in my personal opinion, is kind of underrated. It's called Patterson Road. And now, unfortunately, it has nothing to do with the beautiful Robert Pattinson. But if you haven't heard of, or maybe you haven't physically been to this road, let me tell you, it's pretty terrifying. If you believe in ghosts, of course. If you're a skeptic, you're probably like, no, it's not that bad. But if you're like me and a believer, you're probably gonna be pretty scared of this road if you go. There's several versions of what exactly um, of like the history of exactly what happened there, but it usually has to do with soldiers like battling to the death for one reason or another. Um, the stuff that people have seen can go anywhere from apparitions trying to just, hitch a ride to, gentle warning taps on your car that the enemy's coming, stuff like that. And when you add in the pitch black surroundings, your mind surely will play a trick or two. It's this bridge that you're, or road, whatever, this thing that you're supposed to go on is literally in a place where there's no lights. So if your headlights are not working, please do not go try to find this because, honey, you will not see a thing. Now, when I first heard about this road from my brother, I do have to admit I was very skeptical as per usual. I believe in ghosts, I do. But I'm not easily convinced about a lot of ghost stories or haunted locations. I'm always like, it's the house settling or something. Like, I'm one of those people. It's so annoying. But my brother, being my brother, dared me to come with him to the road and see if it was real. So, of course, I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's probably just going to be like, bugs hitting the car or something because I didn't believe in the taps. And he, being my brother, decided the best hour to go was 3 a.m. And I agreed. I was like, man, hell, if we're going to do something spooky, might as well be at the spookiest time of night, right? So we made our way out there, hitting 3 a.m. just as we turned down the road. Super spooky timing. I remember I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, but we made perfect timing. And we finally got to the bridge. My brother slowed to a stop and turned the car completely off, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, why? Like, nobody's gonna be able to see our car if they're going down the road, you know? Nobody was coming our way, so it didn't really matter, but it was just like my safety mode kicked in, and I was like, no, don't turn the lights off, that's bad. But he said, well, I have to make it completely quiet so you can hear everything. And I nodded, understanding, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I just sat quietly waiting for anything. And I guess fortunately I didn't have to wait very long because it almost immediately started in. Within a few seconds, there were these little taps on my side of the car, and I froze. And it's kind of funny because my immediate panic wasn't from, the thought of like little ghosties or ghouls. I thought somebody was outside, like fucking with the car. I was like, oh god, it's a carjacker, or, somebody who knew that people came to this road, so they took advantage of it. That's where my brain immediately went. And then my this is where my brain went second because apparently this is the second most terrifying thing. I thought it was bugs, and I was terrified because I was like, oh my god, these are some big bugs to cause this big of a tapping, right? But I decided to like look out my window, and I was like, oh, I don't see anything. And then a tap on my window right where my face was, and I was like, Okay, I didn't see a bug. Um, Let me turn on my flashlight out the window. And the tapping stopped. So I was like, okay, usually bugs come towards a light, right? Or maybe these bugs are scared. I don't know how bugs work, whatever. It's probably no big deal. Hopefully it's not a person. Um, and then I heard like a tap like at the bottom part of the door. And my stomach like dropped because I thought immediately, oh my god, what if it was a person? Like, what if they're just like right there? Um, and I told my brother, it's time to leave. It's time to leave because I was getting paranoid about somebody like maybe trying to harm us or scare us or whatever. And it was working because I'm scared more of people than any ghost, right? So it's like, okay, we gotta go. But he laughed and turned on the car, not wanting to scare me anymore because he just, he wanted to see me frightened, and that was good enough for him. So on the drive home, I asked how bad the knocking was on his side of the car, and he said he heard nothing. And I was like, okay, it's his friends then. It has to be. Because, like, if he heard nothing on his side of the car, like, it's a prank. It had to be a prank, right? And I made note of that. I was like, yeah, okay, it's a prank, whatever. And I decided if I really wanted to see if it was paranormal for myself, like, I had to go by myself. Super smart idea. So I forgot about it for a while, but randomly one night I was like, I'm kind of bored. I have nothing else to do. I just got a new car. I'm gonna go. And I drove out to that road. And luckily this time it wasn't closed because that road does get flooded a lot. So there's a lot of times you'll drive up there wanting to go do something spooky and it's like, oh, they're closed. But luckily it wasn't this night. I drove down the road and I did the same thing. I pulled up to the bridge, got on the bridge, turned off my lights, turned off the car completely because I wanted to see. And, nothing happened for like the first 2 minutes. And I was just like, yeah, it had to be a prank. I'll give it the first 15 minutes and then if nothing happens, I'll go home. And almost as if on cue after that thought, I heard tapping again. And this time I brought my weapons. If you know me, you know I carry weapons like everywhere I go because I am paranoid. So I was like, okay, if I need to get out the car and look, I can. I have my weapons on me. Nobody's gonna hurt me, right? And so I first I was flashing my light, looking exactly where the tapping came from, and I was like, okay, no one's here. And I was like, okay, I don't see anyone. I even I honked my horn for good measure, because if you honk your horn and somebody's around, they're gonna get scared and you're gonna see them, right? I mean, that was my train of thought. And nobody was there. So I got out of my car and I looked around, being the stupid white person in every horror movie. I investigated. And there was nobody around and I didn't see any bugs near my car. But I got this creepy feeling. Like the creepiest feeling, like I was being watched. So I hopped back in my car, you know. I was like, no, ma'am, no, sir. That's kind of scary. I'm good. We're not going to do this today. So I was like, I'm just going to fight this fear for a little bit longer. My doors are locked. I have my weapons. I'm good. If anything, I'll run them over, whatever. Move on. And I continuously heard taps. And the thing that made me leave was I heard like, not like a tap, taps are like that kind of stuff, right? I heard a bam on the side of my car. Nobody was there. I have never turned my car on and drove away hitting 80 so quick in my life. I don't know if it was a person playing a prank or maybe somebody threw a rock at my car or something, but whenever I drove to like a gas station and like looked, I was like, okay, there's no dents or nothing. What the hell? I was just kind of freaking out about it and I was like, all right, that's not kosher. Can we can I move on please? Like this is not good for me. I'm not doing this again. And then a year later, I brought it up to my friends, and they all wanted to do it, right? And I was like, okay, well, we have to wait for, the day that my brother's off because he wants to go too, right? And the night before we were supposed to go, I had a nightmare. This is so freaking weird. And the thing is, my brother hadn't told me any of his plans of what we were actually going to do that day because, like, he wanted to go to the road, but he wanted to go down another road, which is called Witch's Road. And it's supposedly you turn down it and you're supposed to see a witch and she's supposed to kill everybody in the car or something. It's so stupid. I never believed it, right? But I had a dream the night before that we were going to go down a road. Again, I had no idea he had planned to go down this road. But it was this long road, and at the end was like this corner that you had to go on. But as we turned the corner, to go down this road, our car stalled. And we were like, okay, well, that's weird, let's get out, see what's happening at, 4 a.m. And, I was with my friends that we were going on the trip with, so it was so freaking weird. But all of a sudden, one of my friends who is diabetic, all of a sudden dropped, and we thought, his blood sugar or whatever, in my dream, but I want to keep reminding you, this is the dream. In the dream he dropped, so we thought it was just his blood sugar got low or whatever, and, he was having an issue. But he started coughing up blood and, like, trying to scream, but you can tell that, like, it was muffled by the blood and everything, and we were all panicking, not knowing, and we just heard, like, this laughing and stuff. And me being me, I was like a fucking Wendigo, I'm just like, oh god, no, who whistled at night, right? um and it was like the most terrifying dream, and I woke up in a sweat. I was like, fuck, this is crazy, right? And I was like, whatever, we're just going down Patterson Road. And that obviously was not Patterson Road because, Patterson Road is just the straight line, straight down. You just drive straight through it, right? So no curves, nothing. I can't be scared. And the next day we went, we picked up everybody. And my brother informs me we're going to go down this road called Witch's Road. And we're going to get out and kind of look around, see if we see anything, right? All my friends were down and I was down, right? But as soon as we got to the road, my stomach fucking dropped, dude. Like, I was like, this is the road from the dream. This is the road from the dream. Oh my god, this is the road from the dream. And as we got closer, I started panicking because I was like, oh fuck, what if the car stalls out? What are we gonna do? Like, if that happens, if this was a premonition or something, like, I'm in panic mode. I don't know what to do. And so I just kind of started crying. And, it was scary, I didn't want my friend to, be coughing up blood. That would have, tore me up inside, right? But, everybody was like, what the fuck are you crying for? And I was like, no, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. As soon as we got to the corner, I was like, do not stop, keep going, whatever. And I was crying, and I was like, I'm having a panic attack, whatever, it's anxiety, please leave. I was trying my hardest to get them to just go. And luckily my brother was like, he could see I was actually panicking, and he was kind of like, okay, that's weird. And, we moved on. And I remember I could not tell because I didn't want to say, I had a dream. And, it's weird because that was the road in the dream, right? And I did not tell anybody about that. I was just like, oh my god, no freaking way. No, that didn't happen, whatever. So it's like that whole area right there. Because Patterson Road is real close to the Witch's Road. It's just, I've experienced a few paranormal things, and they're kind of freaky, It's just, I can't explain it. In my mind, I try to explain it. Like, I'm like, oh, dude, no. It was freaking bugs or pranksters, right? Tapping on your car. And then the dream was just, like, ironic, thing that happened. It, could happen to anyone. But the little, I believe in ghost side of me is, like, dude, it was ghost. It was fucking ghost. It had to be ghost. There's no other explanation. There's no other explanation. But I don't know, it's just weird. Like, having all these paranormal things, or seemingly paranormal things happen, is just like, is this place really haunted? Or do the owners of these areas just know? Like, okay, people are coming down here because they think it's haunted. Let's play it up a little bit. But also, like, I never tweeted out that I was going to these places. I never talk about it before I go because also I don't want to get caught in case it is a bad thing to do. But it's just weird that, all this stuff happens. I don't know. It's weird, but I do severely say if you ever get the chance when it's not flooded to go to Patterson Road and, see if it works for you. Film it. Because I did film part of it. I don't know where that went though, because after I changed my phones, everything got erased. Of course it did, right? But I do say film it and like, let me know if I'm the only person that experienced a tapping on my car, or go down Witches Road and see if anything creepy happens. Because these are some freaky places in Houston. And that's not even like the top of the line. Like, this is like just a place that not many people know about or they've heard of, and they kind of are just like, whatever. Because Patterson Road, I think, is a park, or like there's a park area that you can go or something. I don't know. I've never been there during the daylight, so I don't actually know. It could just be a very nice family park, and I'm like sitting here saying it's haunted by Soldier Ghost or whatever. But you know, I I personally find it terrifying. Um, but yeah, if you can, drive out there and see it. It'll give you something to do during COVID, you know? Just go out there and see if there's any ghosts. But if you catch anything, please let me know. That would be so amazing. But yeah, that about does it for today's episode. It's a little short. Um, I don't know. I just want to kind of sit down and talk. I feel lonely. It's Halloween season. Halloween's obviously not gonna happen how it usually does, which is fine. I usually just stay at home in my costume anyways, but this year I don't have a reason not to, like, do that. Like, God, it's my favorite time of the year. And it's just completely ruined because people can't put on their mask. I don't want to get political. Anyways, I hope y'all have a nice night. Try not to get too spooked. Or do. That's your choice. But I'll see you in the next episode, wherever, whenever that may be, or whoever may be on the next one. We'll see if I can get a co-host. Anyways, I'll see you later.